So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to break into the career technology consulting. If you haven't seen the video already, I actually created a video on why you should be a technology consultant over here. So if you go over there, you can see exactly the pros and cons, what skills are needed, and exactly why you should go into technology consulting.
Hello there. Hello there. Oh, you're so cute. So you guys are actually watching the video on skills and certifications on how to become a technology consultant. Make sure to check out the video on education and experience if you're interested in this. And also, for those who don't know, this is a foster cat that I got. So her name is Light Fury. She is a 5-year-old female cat. We don't know exactly her backstory, but she is available for adoption. So if you are interested, adopt her. Yeah.
This will be your go-to video on, if you're interested in technology consulting, how you can actually get into technology consulting and what is needed. The first thing I want to get into is what are the ways to break into it, and then I'm going to break down more into how are actually going to be the way you connect. Hard skills and soft skills. You don't necessarily have to use them all either through jobs or internships or work or school or anything like that. There are a lot of skills that you need to make sure that you can at least try to bring in on exactly how to make yourself look appealing. If right now you have you're done with school, or maybe these are just skills that you want to start learning so that way you can look more appealing. And I see a lot of people that actually ask me what are the technical skills that they're looking for, but I'm gonna just tell you here that when it comes to technology consulting, actually there's so many things you can do, and it actually depends on the firm, because sometimes you go for boutique firms, they may specialize in one or two things, but if you go for a company like Accenture, they have almost everything under the sun. So when people ask me what they are interested in terms of how to actually improve their resume for the technical skills, it actually depends on what you're interested in, because at the end of the day, it depends. Because if you go in through campus hiring, any kind of technical skill helps. It actually makes you look a lot more appealing. If you go in as an experienced hire, they typically expect you to know something that can actually be used in technology consulting, either on the business side and client side or in technology. So if you're looking to do something in technology, make sure to get certifications. And I know a lot of them are gonna make you pay thousands of dollars for training and get certification, but there's some actually online that are free. So for example, let's do Salesforce Trailhead. That's actually something I did back in college, where you can actually learn about Salesforce for free and not actually have to pay a single thing. The other things you can do is either Udemy or edX, all those kind of programs out there. You're learning a skill, you may not have a certification, but if you do buy a certification that goes with the training, then that also helps. But keep in mind that not all trainings that come with certifications are actually regarded highly, so make sure you do your research that you're learning the specific skills and not just doing it for the certification. They do value actual work experience, and they do value the real certification. So for example, if you have a certification in Excel from edX, it's not necessarily the best compared to if you actually have a Microsoft Excel certification straight from Microsoft. So when I talk about certifications, I'm talking about those that are coming straight from the source, not from these secondary programs that do offer a certification to say that you have experience or you know the skills. And if you're looking for example, Workday Financial, something like what I'm doing, I actually got Accenture to pay for it. If you're worried about all these certifications that maybe you don't want to actually do it now and you don't want to be underqualified for roles that are out there, just keep in mind that a lot of the consulting companies actually do have training budgets. So when you do start your job, you do get training budget to really use to kind of learn those skills and get certifications, because at the end of the day, the client doesn't want someone that doesn't know the system. They want a certified resource. In this case, it actually helps the consulting firm to actually train you and get that certification. In general, I would actually recommend you to get certifications. It really helps, but you get the legit ones. And also, if you're trying to look for technical skills that are not necessarily techie or programming, you need to have strong Excel skills. And this is everywhere. It doesn't necessarily matter for technology consulting. It's for all kinds of consulting, you need to have strong Excel skills. So make sure you brush up on that. We're talking about formulas. We're not talking about the simple plus and minuses. We're talking about count ifs and sum ifs and index matches, VLOOKUPs, all those kind of things. Try to really learn up on those, because that could really help with your Excel work when it comes to working working with client data. You also do want to know PowerPoint. Personally, I actually don't really work that much with PowerPoint because I'm actually doing a lot more demos, and Workday does provide some Workday delivered PowerPoints that I do work with. But sometimes you do actually need PowerPoints, especially when you want to make a really robust presentation on talking about the software, talking about the client's process, or all those kind of things. Excel and PowerPoint are the top two technical skills. This is honestly where, if you don't know Excel or PowerPoint, make sure you know them. I know it's like one of those things where people overlook because everyone puts Microsoft Office on their resume, but if you really want to do well, you need to know a decent amount of how to use Excel and PowerPoint. And then lastly, it's actually on the soft skills. So how can you actually learn soft skills? And this is actually pretty hard because if you're a college student, you still don't know. You're probably learning on the go of like either when you're starting a job or when you do get your first job. So one way to do it is actually getting leadership or teamwork experience at an extracurricular club. So let's say, for example, for when you're at a sorority, you want to maybe go up as like a VP of finance or treasurer. That is already some experience on learning soft skills. The other thing you could be is like maybe a part-time job that's working with clients or customers. So maybe if you're working at the booth selling a hockey games ticket, that is technically soft skill you can be using. And maybe some personal projects or team projects or academic projects, any kind of projects where you're working at a team and that you may have to lead something. Preferably, you want soft skills of leadership, teamwork, and innovation. So teamwork is probably easiest to get in terms of like working in a team, at school, or at a project. Leadership may be a little bit harder, but that's where you would want to use extracurriculars, maybe even volunteer experience. If you can volunteer to be a leader in something, that could be something. And lastly, innovation, which is probably the hardest thing out there. This is actually what really makes you stand out. From what I've noticed from Accenture campus hires is that they've started something or they've done something new. When it comes to innovation specifically, it could be literally, okay, I go up to the student government and I start a new initiative because I found a gap. Or maybe that I started a new club, or that I started something new from a project, something like that. You want to show that you provided actual value to the company, not just that you don't want to just say that, yes, I'm a good worker horse, I can do the job. No, they also want you to go above and beyond. And this is actually going to be relevant to almost every job out there. If you want to do well, don't just do the job description or like whatever your responsibilities are. Go above and beyond and try to innovate. This could mean like making a process more efficient or progressive or contributing a new idea or something like that, because you never know what actually comes out. I actually heard people that they did something that's not even part of their job description, and because of that they got promoted. For example, they did something and then they were told, you are the one that created the idea, you lead it, and then they basically got a whole business unit to themselves. So there's so many ways you can go about it. Just make sure to really try to find any opportunity to innovate. If you're trying to really make that, maybe even start a business with selling your old clothes or a lemonade stand. Honestly, like there's so many things you can do that you may not have thought about. So lastly, when it comes to technology consulting, there's so many things you can do. You don't necessarily have to focus on like, okay, I need to know this skill to do this. Because for example, if you come from like a graphic design background, you could still break into technology. Think about how you can pivot your way through. In this case, you can even consider UX design. And then maybe if you come from education, you can go in through the industry route. So maybe you prefer to want to go into higher education, and then after that you want to go into technology consulting, specializing in the higher education industry. Or maybe you come from like YouTube, and then now you actually know more about social media and online media, all those kind of things. You can work in the digital practice. There's so many things out there. You just need to make sure that you find the consulting company for you, because there's some that are very boutique and niche that focus on specific skills. So maybe they focus on Workday, or maybe they focus on Salesforce, and maybe they even focus on UX. There's so many things you can do. Technology consulting is basically a big term for any professional service provided in technology. I don't know, that's like, as like the world grows, there's gonna be more technology out there than ever. So there's gonna be even more careers that are being created. Like before Workday existed, there were no Workday financial consultants. Now there are Workday financial consultants. There may be a new technology out there that now you can start chasing after. And if you see that the industry is going in that way, then more customers are actually picking this software up. You can go get that certification and you'll be very easy to be hired, regardless of your background. If you have that skill, It's really great. So in general, if you really want to break into technology consulting, really try to analyze what you like to do, what you can do. Actually, this is the Ikigai method that I really like to use. So in general, I really like using this framework to kind of see what I want to do. I'm actually gonna be releasing a video later on like my career journey and exactly how I kind of came across to technology consulting, how I got to where I am. And honestly, I think a lot of people need to be a little bit more intentional and more introspective of like what they like, what they do, what they really want to see going forward, because after that, you can really try to build your own career. Consulting, or specifically technology consulting, is one of those careers that you can build your own career based off of the skills you want, the kind of qualities that you're looking for. If you want to be creative, you can go somewhere creative. You can design. If you want to do more programming, you can do more technical stuff. There's no real hot skill out there. There are hot skills out there where right now, like for example, Salesforce and Workday, all this cloud-based softwares, they're really booming right now, and they're really looking for any resources in those kind of skills or certifications. But you never know that maybe there's a new technology. For example, what if Salesforce or Workday, they go out of business? Now I'm basically out of a job. I have to kind of learn a new skill or get a new certification. So you always have to be on your mind with that. It's never going to be stagnant when it comes to technology consulting. You always need to be looking for the next big thing. Even right now, we always keep on saying like, okay, we can technically all be fired if Workday goes out of business and then we don't have a software to deliver. It's like one of those things where you just need to really keep your mind out there, always be looking, always be listening to what's out there, and then try to see what you want to do, because you never know if like you could be the next highly coveted candidate out there based off of what skills you have. This is actually all I have in terms of how to break into technology consulting. As you can see, there's many ways to break in, and there's also so many flexibility in terms of like how you want to pivot yourself into the career. But specifically, if you really want to learn more, make sure to join the Facebook group that I created for our technology consulting community. I actually found that so many groups or so many people focused heavily on management consulting. I actually got a little bit annoyed. I was like, what about technology consulting? Well, how come no one talks about it? No one knows about this, and this is why I have this channel to talk to you about technology consulting, because no one knows. I even had students come to me like, oh, how about case interviews? Like, you talk about the tech case interview. How do I approach it? There's nothing on there. There's like all about these management consulting or strategy consulting case interviews, but I created this Facebook group so you can join and really be part of the conversation on like what you need to be, what you need to do, what are the fields out there, because like right now I'm focusing on Workday financial software implementations. There could be so many things out there, like a UX research, or maybe even in digital marketing that technically counts as technology consulting. There's so many things out there that you may be interested in. There's like so many things out there. Just make sure you do your research on what you want to do. Basically, any professional service out there in technology is what technology consulting is. That's why there's so many people out there that like you ask what their job is or like what do they do on a day-to-day, and it always says it depends. And this is why you should be watching my video here on how I break down what is exactly technology consulting on at least a high level, and try to really make sure that you understand the pros and cons before you getting into it. So make sure to join the Facebook group. It's actually in the description down below. Thanks again for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I focus on professional and personal development, technology consulting, career, and money. So if you want more technology consulting resources, make sure to subscribe.
Make that bank for your kitties. Yeah.